ಸಹೋದರ ಸಹೋದರಿಯರೇ, ಈ ಭಾನುವಾರದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ವರಿಗೂ ಆಧಾರದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಇಂದಿನ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕರಾದಂತಹ U.S.Pandey ಅವರು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಚಿರಪರಿಚಿತರು. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ವೇದಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ಹಲವಾರು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆಕ್ಚರರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆಕ್ಚರರ್. ಹಲವಾರು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಲಾಡ್ಜ್ಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹಲವಾರು ಲಾಡ್ಜ್ ಫೆಡರೇಷನ್ಗಳು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಗಳನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಗಳನ್ನು ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ UP ಮತ್ತು ಉತ್ತರಾಖಂಡ ಫೆಡರೇಷನ್ನಿನ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಭಾರಗಳನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ನಿನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟಿವ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಹಲವಾರು ಸಬ್ ಕಮಿಟಿಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ಕಾರ್ಯಭಾರಗಳನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ತಮ್ಮ ಇಡೀ ಜೀವನವನ್ನೇ ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಕಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಗೆ ಮುಡುಪಾಗಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಇಡೀ ವಯಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ಹಲವಾರು ದೈಹಿಕ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿದ್ದರೂ ಸಹ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಯ ಮೂಲಕ ಸೇವಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು, ಸಾರ್ಥಕ ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನು ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಪ್ರಪಂಚಾದ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರವಾಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಕಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯ ಸತ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಹರಡಲು ಕಂಕಣಬದ್ಧರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಉತ್ತಮ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶಕರಾಗಿ, ಉತ್ತಮ ಚಿಂತಕರಾಗಿ, ಉತ್ತಮ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕರಾಗಿ ಹಲವಾರು ಸಮಕಾಲೀನ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಇಂದಿನ ಅಭಿರುಚಿಗೆ ತಕ್ಕ ಹಾಗೆ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಗಳನ್ನು ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಕಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆವರಣದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಕಾಲೇಜು ಮತ್ತು ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲುಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿಯರಿಗೆ ಅವರು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಗಳನ್ನು ಉಣಬಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಲವಾರು ವೇದಿಕೆಗಳಿಂದ ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಯ ಪ್ರಚಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಸಾರಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಕಂಕಣಬದ್ಧರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಈ ದಿನ ಪಾರಮಿತಗಳು ಈ ವಿಷಯವಾಗಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ನೀಡಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಸಿಟಿ ಲಾಡ್ಜಿನ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ದಿನದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಈ ದಿನದ ಸಭೆಯ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆಯನ್ನು ಫೆಡರೇಷನಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳಾದಂತಹ MS ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅವರು ವಹಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೂ ಸಹ ನಾನು ಈ ದಿನದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈ ದಿನ U.S.Pandey ಅವರು ನೀಡತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ಧರ್ಮೇಂದ್ರ ಬಾಬು ಅವರು ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾರಾಂಶವನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ವಪ್ನ ಬುಕ್ ಹೌಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಕಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಲಾಡ್ಜಿನ ಸದಸ್ಯರು ಡಿಪ್ಲೊಮಾ ಇನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ವಿಷಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ವಹಿಸಿ ಹಲವಾರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ದಿನ ಅವರು U.S.Pandey ಅವರ ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ ತರ್ಜುಮೆ ಮಾಡಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೂ ಸಹ ನಾನು ಈ ದಿನದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈಗ ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ರಕಟಣೆಗಳು. ಮುಂದಿನ ಭಾನುವಾರ ಸಿಟಿ ಲಾಡ್ಜಿನ ಇದೇ ಹಾಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ 148ನೇ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಸಮ್ಮೇಳನದ ಪ್ರಸಾರ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಅಡಿಯಾರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳ ವಿವರಗಳನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿನೇ ನೀವು ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಅಡಿಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬರಲ್ವೋ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿನೇ ಸಹ ಅದನ್ನು ವೀಕ್ಷಿಸಬಹುದು. ವಿವರಗಳನ್ನು ಯಮುನಾವತಿ ಅಥವಾ ತೇನ್ಮೌಳಿ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾರ್ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆಯೋ ಆ ದಿನ ಆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಬಹುದು. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸಿಟಿ ಲಾಡ್ಜಿನ ಸಭಾಂಗಣದಲ್ಲಿ 11ರಿಂದ 12 ಗಂಟೆವರೆಗೂ ಭಾರತ ಸಮಾಜ ಪೂಜೆ ಮತ್ತು ಗೋಷ್ಠಿಗಾನ ತರಬೇತಿ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರತಿ ಕೊನೆಯ ಭಾನುವಾರ ರೌಂಡ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇದೆ. ಲೋಟಸ್ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ತಂಡದ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಸಿಟಿ ಲಾಡ್ಜಿನಲ್ಲಿ ವಾರದ 7 ದಿನವೂ ಸಹ ಭಾರತ ಸಮಾಜ ಪೂಜಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತದೆ. ಪ್ರತಿ ಶುಕ್ರವಾರ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ 10ರಿಂದ ಭಾರತ ಸಮಾಜ ಪೂಜೆ, 10:40ಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾರ್ವತ್ರಿಕ ರೋಗೋಪಶಮನ ಧ್ಯಾನ, 12ರಿಂದ 1 ಗಂಟೆಯವರೆಗೆ ಜೀವಿತವಿರುವುದೇ ಜೀವಿಸುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ವ್ಯಾಸಂಗ ತರಗತಿ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ಪ್ರತಿ ಭಾನುವಾರ 11ರಿಂದ 12 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಬ್ಲಾವರ್ಸ್ಕಿ ಸಭಾಂಗಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿ ಗ್ರಂಥದ ಅಧ್ಯಯನವನ್ನು ಉದಯ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿ ಮತ್ತು ಧ್ಯಾನ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಶಾಲೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸಿಟಿ ಲಾಡ್ಜಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಧ್ಯಾನಾಸಕ್ತರ ಅನುಕೂಲಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಗುರುವಾರ ಹೊರತುಪಡಿಸಿ ವಾರದ 6 ದಿನವೂ ಸಹ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ 9:15 ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ 1:45 ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮಂದಿರ ತೆರೆದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಸಕ್ತರ ಸದುಪಯೋಗವನ್ನು ಪಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬೋದು. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನ ವಿವಿಧ ಲಾಡ್ಜಿಗಳ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಹೀಗಿದೆ. ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತ ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಕಲ್ ಲಾಡ್ಜ್ ವಿಜಯನಗರ ಲಾಡ್ಜಿನಲ್ಲಿ 30/12 2023 ಶನಿವಾರ ಈ ವಾರ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಡಿಯಾರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ವಯೋಸ್ಥ ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಕಲ್ ಲಾಡ್ಜಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿಕಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಮಲ್ಲೇಶ್ವರಂ ಶಾಖೆಯಲ್ಲಿ 25/12/2000 ಸೋಮವಾರ ನಾಳೆ ದಿನ ಥಿಯೋಸಫಿ ಜೀವನ ಮುಂದುವರೆದ ಭಾಗವನ್ನು ಏನು ಪುಟ್ಟಮ್ಮನವರು ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದಿನಾಂಕ 25/12/2023 ಸೋಮವಾರ ಸಂಜೆ 6 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಶ್ರೀ U.S.Pandey ಅವರು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕರು ಅವರ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ಬರ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಲ್, ಆತ್ಮ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಅನುವಾದ ಸುದರ್ಶನ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಅವರಿಂದ. ಸರ್ವರಿಗೂ ಆಧಾರದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವಿದೆ. ಮಲ್ಲೇಶ್ವರಂ ಶಾಖೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇದೆ. ಸಹೋದರ ಸಹೋದರರೇ, ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆಧಾರದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಉಂಟು. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳ ಯಶಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸಹಕಾರ ನೀಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಸದಸ್ಯರು ತಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಫೋನ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಸುಗಮವಾಗಿ ನಡೆಯಲು ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಿ. ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಫೋನ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕಾಗಿ ವಿನಂತಿ. ಈಗ U.S.Pandey ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ನೀಡಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Thank you, Brother Sanat Kumarji, for introducing the topic and me also. Dear Brother Sridharji, Sanat Kumar Vyasji, Dharmendra, and dear brothers and sisters, I am very happy to be with you this morning. And whenever I come to Bangalore, I look for meeting you in all the three lodges, and that's why I advise my program and request that if convenient to the concerned officials, then we can meet in that connection. This time I had come here to Bangalore on the way to Chennai. In fact, I came 22nd and 29th going to Chennai for convention, and in between I thought my privilege, my happiness to meet all of you, and in that connection I am here. So since we are members of Theosophical Society, one of our main function is to share views on the theosophical literature, theosophical philosophy, and for that purpose these talks are arranged, study camps are arranged. Today the topic chosen by your Federation Secretary is 7 Paramitas, and we will share the views on the 7 Paramitas. What are these Paramitas, what is their function in spiritual path, and how to go about it. This topic is also given in this book by Theosophical Blooms, which I just compiled, compilation of 25 articles, and that is also material based on the original writings of the great Theosophical stalwarts like Narsi, Olcott, Annie Besant, and all others. Coming to Paramitas, all of us and most of us are familiar with the voice of silence, which is considered one of the noblest and highest spiritual book for the sadhana, for the yoga, for the meditation. That is based on Mahayana Buddhism, and in that this idea of 7 portals or 7 Paramitas has come. Before that, if you look into your Hindu scriptures, our Hindu scriptures, highest even Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, at least I do not find any idea of these 7 portals or 7. Of course, in that the references are there on that topic, but not in this fashion. So this is a specialty of Mahayana Buddhism, and where the ultimate aim is that when man or women, when they attain the highest goal of human life, like Jivan Mukti or liberation, then their next stage, and that is called highest stage, even renounce that thing and to be in the world for serving the humanity. This idea is not appearing in our other scriptures, either Hindu scriptures or Christian scriptures. But of course, there is some indication when Lord Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that all the fruits of karma have to be given for the lok sangra, for the welfare of the humanity. The highest fruit of the karma is liberation, mukti, so that is also to be given. So in that way we can interpret, yes, but not very clearly. So the voice of silence, the book is in 3 fragments. Fragment 2 talks about 2 paths, and fragment 3 deals with the 7 paramitas. 7 porters, it is also called 7 keys called, we'll discuss what is the difference between keys, porters and paramitas. And when the disciple has reached a certain stage, almost lost stage, when he just become perfect, which is the purpose of the human life, evolution, then he is given choice of 2 paths according to this voice of silence. The path is 1, but at the end it becomes 2, 4, and there you have got a choice whether you go to left side or right side. The choice has to be made by the disciple. The one path is the path of liberation, Jivan Mukti, Moksha, and other path is to be entitled to moksha, liberation, but renounce it and be in the world for serving the humanity. So the first path, they say it is the path of yoga, 4-fold path, pratyahar, dharana, samadhi, which leads to liberation. And the second path is to travel through the 7 portals. That means your 4-fold path, yoga, merely attaining the Kaivalya stage will not sufficient for this path, for that you have to. So it is also said that it is very difficult naturally, and they have compared that 4-fold path like Jivan Mukti, easier path, though of course it is not easier for most of people, but when comparing the 2 paths, it is said that easier path like a winding, going up the hill, winding path, whereas the 7 portal path has been compared like a steep ascent on the hill. So that is a difficult one, and there is a lot of dangers and distractions on this path, which they have compared the 7 portals. Each portal have got a guard who has to give entry to that portal, and there is a key. So these are allegorical description. That means there are 7 stages, and every 7 stages there are difficulties which a disciple has to overcome by his own inner will, inner purification of mind. And these forces which obstruct us, they have been compared at very cruel powers. Now these cruel powers are not some outside power. They are our own lower desires, lower vasanas, lower feelings, which rise up when the person tries to do something and they obstruct it. And that becomes very hard to overcome them also. So that is why that is mentioned, very cruel, crafty powers, they await at every gate. If you have read that Light of Asia, even Gautam Buddha, just before attaining enlightenment, the description there, he felt to be attacked by an army of Mara. An army of Mara is nothing that is a vertical description of his own subtle lower vasanas, lower desires, which rise up even at that stage. So this is the same idea he got here. A good and pious man practices virtues. Now these 7 paramitas means transcendental virtue. The virtues we know, commonly we also know that everybody should give dan, everybody should come, and the conduct should be sadachar, 6 points are mentioned in the Advaita Master. But that is not sufficient for this path. Here those virtues have to be taken to perfection. So we'll see some of the points, how the virtues can be called perfection and what is required of that. Which the level of perfection is not possible, is not within the capacity of ordinary man. That's why ordinary man has to practice, start practicing, but immediately he cannot say that I will attain perfection. But if he is constantly trying, and without discouragement, without despair, without getting disheartened, then success is bound to come. That is also assurance given. So everything depends on one's inner will, one's inner commitment, one's inner perseverance. This is very clear signal given. So they must this is not some kind of religious virtue where we perform some rites, some ceremonies, or we, in worldly sense, we feel only social morality. So that is good for our worldly life, but that is not sufficient for this one. Hence it is said that to travel on this path requires adamantine will, very hard will is required, willpower is required, and also dauntless heart, the heart which does not get afraid of any danger, even at the peril of the life. You have to surrender your life, you have to prepare that. So adamantine will and dauntless heart is required. We should not be afraid of any situation in the life which come. So hence the disciple warned, the rugged path of fourfold dhyana winds up on the hill, as I mentioned to you, and thrice great to be he who climbs to the top. Even the person who reaches winding hill, he is also a great person, because to attain even liberation is not such an easy thing. Then Paramitas heights are crossed to a still steeper path. On the Paramita path, the disciple has to fight his way through 7 portals, 7 strongholds held by cruel and crafty powers. These crafty and cruel powers, as I mentioned, these are our own, that means inner dispensation, inner manovritti of the disciple itself. Whatever lower natures, whatever lower desires and karma, they rise up and they try to obstruct our journey, our path, our commitment. The Paramitas path of 7 portals has its foot in the mire and its summit lost in glorious nirvanic light. What is mire? Mire means mud, dirty mud. That means any man, in whatever position, he can start there. It is not necessary that you should become a very pure person, very religious person, then you start. Any person, even criminal person, if his commitment that he can start from there, that is why mire. That means hope is given in whatever situation a person is there, in whatever profession is there, whatever knowledge there. If he is satisfied, if he is convinced about the usefulness of this path, he can start from that itself. And the summit of the path is in glorious height, is goes very high, which cannot be seen. Just like 3 great truths are that the development of the soul is unlimited glory, it cannot reach, that cannot be described. So the mire is our daily life. In daily life we are feeling so many problems, so many difficulties. Life is there. Somebody is sick, somebody has family problem, somebody has different problem. So whatever problem one can start if one is there. It's not necessary to leave your family duties. It is not necessary to leave the world to go to some ashrama. You can start in your home itself. So the portals are said to become narrower. It is also said the portals, there are 7 portals, and they become narrow. First portal is wider, then again less wider, and narrow. What does it mean, narrowing? Again, it is a allegorical description. That means as we move upwards or inwards, more spiritual, our choices become limited. Initially, there are more choices. Whether I go to this work or we go to that work, we spend time in this activity, that activity, and gradually those choices will lessen, will reduce. And also, another meaning is that, narrowing portal, another meaning is that we have to lighten our burden. Burden of what? Burden of worldly things, worldly thoughts, worldly desires. For example, food. I like some special type of food. Now if I am traveling on the path and I am going around many places, I am not getting that path, I should not hanker for that type of food. So this choice of the activity and choice of our basic requirements have to be gradually reduced in that sense. So each portal has a golden key. Now the three words are coming: key, portal, and paramita. Each portal has got a key, to open the lock, and the keys are mentioned as Dana, Shila, Shanti, Virag, Virya, Dhyana, and Prajna. We'll see some of the points of this later. Now, before the aspirant, as weaver of his destiny, aspirant is called weaver of destiny. By turning his path, he is weaving his destiny. Destiny for what? Destiny of getting liberation, and after that, to join that Bodhisattva mark. And even now, in a worldly life also, we are always living our destiny. Whatever we are doing, whatever thinking, in what way we are reacting with our family members, with our colleagues, with our society, every moment we are weaving our destiny. And in this path, when we travel, the destiny is being woven for some higher purpose. That means higher destiny, we are making our own destiny. He has to master these paramitas. Disciple has to master paramitas. That means he has to be aim for perfection, nothing less than perfection. But it also said that cannot be achieved in one stage. Constant endeavor, constant practice is required. That means every time we have to be attentive whether we are satisfying those standard of paramita, and then only we can achieve perfection. What are the standards? That will come shortly. These 7 golden keys, along with 7 portals, constitute the 7 paramitas. The golden keys, portals, and then paramita, these 3 are together. And the meaning is that these 3 terms meaning is, the key means that when you start, for example, first portal is dana, that means when you start practice of dana, gift, charity, when you start the practice, that is key. You feel something to give dana is good, so that is initial stage. And you start small dana. Danas can be in material thing also, your time also, your energy also. The sampatti you have to give to the worldly welfare. Your sampatti is what? Dhan, bal, and jnana. Your money can be there, your own physical energy is there, you have got healthy body, healthy person, you have to help the sickly person, that is dana. Then your time. If you got time, it is you have to give your time for the welfare of humanity. And of course, if you got money, you can give money. So money, time, and bala, your physical energy, all 3 has to be given. All 3 will constitute a dana practice. It is not only money and food. And in fact, theosophical literature says to giving dana at mental level is highest dana, jnana yajna, which Gita says. So that is also dana. Whatever we learn, whatever we know, whatever we study, we have to share with that. And that is also dana, and give the time. So these 3, key, portal. Portal means when we start serious practice of this thing. For dana, and seriously practice. Starting, that means key, and the serious practice is entering the portal. And when we attain the perfection or near perfection, that is paramita. Paramita is almost perfection. So these 3 stages can be also described as entrance, learning, and achieving. Entrance, learning, and achieving. When I just enter the path, that is key. When I am practicing, that is the portal. And when I am achieving perfection, that paramita. So these 3 will be there at every stage. So these virtues are termed paramitas. Para means pare, transcendental. That means these virtues are the highest achievable virtue by any man, any woman. They are transcendental virtues because these virtues lie beyond the capacity of the common man. And only virtue of this, like honesty, truthfulness, becomes transcendental when we practice to the hill. That's why Master in one of the letters says to practice ordinary virtues like being honest, like being good, like being truthful, like being kind. This is not sufficient. This is only negative virtues. That means we are protecting ourselves from the vices. So he says this is not sufficient. This can be starting point, but you have to develop these virtues to perfection. In the notes of Blavatsky, she writes that paramitas are the transcendental virtues, and there are 10 for the priestly class, 7 for the household, for the common man, and 10 for the priestly. That priestly means the who are advanced sadhaka. Not when it says priestly, priest doesn't mean priest of a temple. That means an advanced practitioner, advanced sadhaka. The Leadbeater in his books on the talk on occultism, he mentions some other literature when he talked to the monk, Buddhist monk in Sri Lanka. There these 7 paramitas are described somewhat differently, and they are said perfect charity, perfect morality, perfect truth, perfect wisdom, this way they are described. In Awakening of Faithful, Ashwagosha is a Buddhist scholar. He is described as charity, dana, shila, shanti, vairagya, prajna, and dhyana. He also said that in the Voice of Silence, in the initial edition of 1924, there was a footnote which was given where these paramitas were described, and in later editions of the Voice of Silence, this note has been omitted. As I mentioned, that this system is mainly a Mahayana Buddhism, which is called Northern Buddhism. So, since Dalai Lama is also belongs to that system, he has mentioned in his talk in the book Bodhisattva Acharya Avatara. Here he mentions in Tibet. Tibet is the seat of the Buddhism. There, Buddhism is followed in 3 stages. Initial stage is 4 noble truth, that is Shravakyana. 4 noble truth. You know, there is misery, there is a cause for misery, there is way for removing misery, and there is way. So 4 noble truth initial stage. And second stage is the 7 paramitas, second stage. And then he said the third stage is mantra or vajrayana, where certain invocation is made to the higher power, to the Adibuddhi power. So, but there the description of paramitas, slightly words are different. The Bodhisattva path consists of practice of the 6 or 7 paramitas. The paramitas mentioned somewhere 6 and somewhere 7. In fact, most of the places you mentioned 6 only. In the Voice of Silence it is mentioned 7. And the reason for that given that probably Brodsky wanted to align this whole system of paramitas with the 7-fold classification, like 7 principles of man, 7 planes of matter, and that's why she added the vairagya in between middle portal. Vairagya paramita is not appearing in other descriptions. This is added only in Voice of Silence by Brodsky, so that to make the system in accordance with the 7 principles as followed of man. So we may now briefly see some of the points of these 7 keys or 7 paramitas. First is dana, charity, to give. To give, as I mentioned, to give can be whatever, material things, and mental thoughts, mental advice, and also your time, energy, everything. Everything will constitute dana. So it is the great virtue, and it is the key of charity and immortality, that is starting point, whatever we can give to our capacity to help others. Charity means holding others dear. Charity is based on hold others dear. Charity, when it is charity, then as is said in the practical occultism, the charity should be given to anybody who is needed, irrespective of his caste, irrespective of his race, irrespective of locality. It is not that we help people of our own caste, of our own nationality. Wherever we come in contact with any person who is needing something, we should be prepared to give, without any consideration of his background, his locality, and his other things. So charity means holding others dear. That means we hold dear everyone, and we try to help everyone where help is needed. The personal mercy, and that's the personal effort. It is not that mechanically we should help. It should be personal personal effort should be there, personal exertion is there, and we must personally contact that person. It is not that through some other person we should try to help as far as possible. Of course, if it's not possible for me to travel because of certain reasons, naturally some other medium has to be employed. But as far as possible, it should be personal contact, personal effort, and personal exertion. Because that way, Brodsky said, your dana gets 100-fold more benefit at a spiritual level by personal contact. The assistance in trouble of needs. The real giving must involve both heart and mind and hand. All the three, heart, hand, and mind, all three should be involved. That means whatever we do, it should not be done mechanically, just to help somebody and then forget about needs. In fact, Voice of Silence said that we should try to go to the cause of that problem of that person which you are helping and try to remove, besides immediate help, we should try to remove the cause, original cause, what is creative, what is the source of that problem to the man. So that's why he says heart and mind has to be attuned. He has to be in full accord with harmony with all lives. The personal has to be sacrificed to the self-impersonal. And all this given has to be done in an impersonal way. There's no personal attachment. We should not have expectation. If I'm doing something for the good of others, I should get something in return. Even by the idea of even doing some punya karma, that also should be not in mind. Because normally when you do something, always that background, I'm doing some punya karma, even that should not be in your mind. You just do as your habit. Just like I'm breathing in, breathing out, I'm not thinking why I'm breathing in, breathing out, what is going on. So the dana should be given like natural habit without any conscious effort, without any conscious thinking. Then only it becomes paramita. Then one word is there, trikoti shuddha dana. Trikoti shuddha dana means that dana should be like that, where there's no idea of the thing which is being given. That means whatever giving, at that time our mind should be free. What is the cost of that thing, what is costly, what is less costly, whether it will be useful to me or not useful to me, that idea should not be there at all. And the person whom I am giving, even that person, when we give something, normally idea comes, oh, that person is poor person and he is weaker than us. That idea should also not be there. Yes, he is weaker, he is needy, but that idea should not be there. So there is no idea of the thing given, no idea of the taker, no idea of the giver. The giving should be natural, just like natural breathing inside. That should become habit of the person who is moving on this path. Whenever he finds need, he just gives, and without thinking the person, and without thinking the value of the thing being given and all those things. So that is, then it becomes trikoti shuddha dana. Otherwise, the dana, it becomes impure if there is any thought. So to make it paramita, that means perfect dana, that quality should be there. In the act of true dana, nobody gives. Giver, the idea of giver should also not there. I am just giving without idea of being giver. So there is no idea of giver, no idea of taker, no idea of the thing. It's very difficult to perceive, but that is the stage has to be reached at that stage. A master wrote that the sun gives all, the sun gives light to all, it takes none from others. So we have to reach that stage. We give whatever we can spare to all without idea of giving, without idea of being that I am giving, and also we should try avoid taking from others. In return of that, of course, when I am personally in need, for example, I am sick, I may help somebody who is able to help me, but we should not have expected that in return we will get if we have helped somebody earlier. So this is some of the points which will make your ordinary dana as a paramita dana. Then we come to Shila. Shila is virtues and good conduct. Yes, everybody expected to have a good conduct. Acting rightly after realizing our inmost nature. Self-awareness and insight into our every action is needed. It is the key which counterbalances the cause and effect, karmic effect, and thus leaving no karmic effect. Performing right action as duty and sacrifice, same idea of Bhagavad Gita. Every action has to be done as a duty and sacrifice, not with any hope for reward for that action. Reward will come, but we should be prepared to give the reward again for welfare of others, for lok sangra, for the welfare of the humanity. And thus karma yoga becomes a sila. That means this karma yoga has to be performed in everything. For example, I am giving time to somebody, so I am doing that karma yoga, but I should not expect something in return for that. We should use attentiveness to watch. And another thing important is that we should be always attentive about inner feeling. When I am doing certain thing, what is our inner feeling, what is reaction? That means awareness meditation should go on all time. Then only it makes sila. Our shortcomings may be taken as opportunities. Everybody has shortcomings, and we should be aware what is our shortcoming. That should take an opportunity. Opportunity in the sense that we should try to overcome those shortcomings and increase our capacity. For example, if I am a poor, I should be constantly trying to become more honest, more diligent in my work. And then, if I am a little ignorant about things, I should make more effort to know the thing, to study, make a study, discussion, all those things. So effort should go on to overcome our limitations. That is also part of the Sila. So next is Shanti. Shanti is not Shanti peace. K-S-H-A-I-A, Shanti word. It means fortitude and patience with no tendency to get wrathful. Again, perfect balance, perfect calmness of mind is required in all the work, in all the activities, in all the emotional reaction, in all the thoughtful generation. So perfect balance is required. Mind must not be influenced by emotions. We should be free from emotion. That is also very important to become free of emotions. At this stage of evolution, majority of human beings are carried away by emotions. That's why the religious leaders and political leaders do exploit the people and for their advantage, because presently the mass of humanity is affected by emotions. And one of the basic requirement of the spiritual path is to free from emotion. That means to develop viveka. We should see every activity by viveka, what is right and what is wrong, not by simply carried by emotions. That's why while giving dana also, emotions should not be there. In fact, Brodsky says by giving dana with emotion somebody without realizing his need, you may your dana may not be useless, but otherwise or it may cause some harm also. So our dana should also be useful and free from emotions, any sort of emotion. So it is only tolerance and tolerance with everybody. Tolerance does not mean only to bear with the person who is opposite view, quietly, not reacting. That is not tolerance. Tolerance means to, in a positive manner, to accept that person who is opposing my views. In this situation, every person has got different way of thinking, different way of working. If a person is different from my view, then we must accept him, not only tolerate in a negative sense. Normally when we talk about tolerance, a normal person takes all right, I will keep quiet, I will not just protest. That is not enough. Mentally, I should accept as the person as he or she is, and that only that perfect tolerance, perfect the shanti. In fact, it is said that if you do not like a person, what a normal person says? Normal person says, if I do not like person, I will not like to see his face. I will try to avoid. That is normal reaction. If there is some dispute with your neighbor, normally both of you do not like to see face of each other. You try to avoid. But here it says no. You purposely, consciously try to react with the person whom you do dislike it. Every moment, every opportunity, try to give a smile, try to interact, try to give some gift, and try to improve this antagonism feeling between you. Then only tolerance, that is tolerance. Then another thing we say is that many of us do not like certain type of work, though we consider that work is important, useful to others. So it says consciously you should do that work which you do not like. You take one by one. If you do not like the work, you should do that. And also the person, if you do not like, you consciously try to interact with that person, and then only you attain the Paramitas stage of this Shanti or balance or equanimity. So if you see, these are the differences here. So we should not avoid the dislikable. The first thing, we should not avoid dislikable. We must interact with the dislikable to convert into likable. If you constantly appeal, you convert. That's why it is said in the Dalai Lama teachings, or even Jesus Christ teaching, the enemy is not to be treated as enemy. If a person is doing enmity to us, even we should try to cultivate goodwill for the enemy also. In fact, Dalai Lama says that enemy is your great teacher, Mahaguru, on a spiritual path. He says, without enemy you cannot proceed on a spiritual path. When I first read it, I felt it awkward. Without enemy you cannot travel on the spiritual path. Because he says only enemy can test your what? Patience and forbearance. Your friend will not test. Friend will also always praise you. The enemy will criticize you and he will test your patience and endurance. And perfect patience and endurance is necessary for the spiritual path. So same idea is brought here. The Shanti, perfect Paramitas of Shanti will be there when the manner, in that manner we try to person, even the person who is having enmity to me. Enmity need not be a foreign country enmity. Enmity can be our neighbor and even family also. People do not like some differences. So all those things have to be accepted in a positive way. That is the idea. So endurance means to give up again and again our tamasic and rajasic habits. And we must have a awareness about rajasic and tamasic habits and try to remove those habits. That is also part of the Shanti Paramita. Shanti constitutes three important stages. What are the stages? First, unselfishness of the purpose. As I mentioned earlier, every purpose, every activity should be unselfish. For example, even if I am trying to cultivate friendship with my enemy, even there should no idea of selfishness. If I convert him friend, then I will get some benefit, or he will help me. All that idea should not be there. Just we try to cultivate the friendship with the enemy without anything hoping in reward. So unselfishness should be purpose. Then universal charity. As I mentioned, charity should be universal, without any distinction of race, caste, creed and all those things. Universal charity. And the pity for all animate beings. Pity for all animate beings. Animate beings, even the animal kingdom, even plant kingdom, even mineral kingdom, all are animated beings. So pity should be there. That means we should try to protect every kingdom wherever we can do. So Dhan, Shil and Shanti, these are initial three paramitas, and they together constitute the such system which brings out order in human life. Order for what? Order for spiritual path. That means these three constitute the first three steps which make you successful in advancing in further journey. So perfection of these three, or near perfection, is very important. Then comes fourth, Vairagya, which was introduced by Blodsky, which is not appearing in the traditional paramitas, either in Chinese Buddhism or Mahayana Buddhism or Tibetan Buddhism. But it was introduced in Voice of Silence by Blodsky to make it compatible with the principles of 7 human bodies and 7 principles of human being. So Vairagya is detachment, as you know, and dispassion or equanimity, seeing not through colored glasses, seeing the things as they are, all selfish thoughts and temptations and mastery over thoughts to be attained. Lightest breeze of passion or desire and smallest wave of longing have to be restrained. Here the conscious restraining of the longing, desires and distraction of thought is required in the Vairagya. Vairagya will be applicable at every stage, even at final stage will come. That is called Paravairagya in Patanjali Yoga Shastra also. Then here also there will be opposing forces. Opposing forces mean our own inner nature, lower nature will oppose it. And they are described as 8 dire miseries. They are malice, sloth, pride, doubt, desire, delusion, ignorance, and future lives have to be forsaken. Future lives is also a misery. What does it mean? Normally a person thinks, what will be my tomorrow? Whether tomorrow I'll be happy, tomorrow I'll be more prosperous, tomorrow I'll earn more money. That is worldly thought. And even spiritually, then we say, yes, tomorrow I may get next incarnation, I may get better human being, better family status, better prosperity, or better knowledge. And finally, I may get that liberation, moksha stage. So that all that thought should not be there. The thought for tomorrow, thought for future is an impediment, is a misery. So this is also to be avoided. So realize elusive character, emptiness now, all things. Realize emptiness of all things, impermanence of all things. That is also impermanence and emptiness is also emphasized very much in Mahayana Buddhism. That has to be realized. And soul and mind both have to be controlled when crossing this gate of balance. Soul and mind both has to be controlled. And the mental portal. Now, control of mind we understand. What does it mean, control of soul? How to control soul? The soul, the purpose of soul, Jivatman, is to get moksha. So, if we eliminate that idea of moksha, I am doing the work without any idea of attaining moksha, then that is the controlling soul. Controlling mind, everybody knows that we should control our thoughts. So, mind and soul both have to be controlled. Now, when we control soul, then who is controlling soul? When we try to control soul, all those finer, subtler desires, even desire of moksha, that means our monad, our atma, that becomes active and it controls the tendency of the soul also. So, this Gyan Marg or path of pure knowledge of Paramitas, the aspirant has to feel himself all thought, and yet all thoughts should exclude from his mind. That means he should be sensitive to the thought of entire world, thought of others, and he should become insensitive to his own thought. That means he should, or he or she should not give primary importance to personal thought, but he should respect others' thought. This is the idea. So then virya. Virya is courageousness, endurance, the dauntless energy that fights its way to supernatural truth, virya. That means we should be always have sufficient energy to all these things. Doing spiritual work requires more energy than doing worldly work, more energy at mental level and also physical level necessary. So we should be always, our habit should be full of energy. It should not be something unwillingness, and it should be willingness, cheerfulness with cheerful effort. Diligence has to be there all through. It is related to Shanti. Endeavor is finding joy in doing. Whatever we are doing, we should be inner satisfied, satisfaction, inner joyful. It should not be any disheartenedness in doing any work. Unwillingness in any work should not be there. There should not be laziness. The laziness has got three aspects. One is that I am not prepared to give my time to these activities. I am more happy to seeing the TV serial, doing something recreation work. That is one sort of laziness in the spiritual path. Second is to doubting your own capacity. Oh, I cannot study that, I cannot give that time. That is also a feeling that has to be overcome. And then negative activities, all these form part of laziness. The person has to overcome all these three aspects of laziness. That means he must see that how his time is spending, and he must not doubt his capacity. Every human being has a capacity, he must believe it. Only willpower is required. So, related to these are the taking undue pleasure in idleness. We should not just keep lying idle in our bed or doing something recreational activity. Thinking of, and this laziness will go if we think that our life is very short and whatever I want to do work, I must do immediately. That's why our Saint Kabir, you have heard the Saint Kabir name? Very famous saint. He has said in a Sakhi, whatever you want to do tomorrow, you do now. Whatever you want to do now, you do now. Whatever you want to do tomorrow, you do today. Whatever you want today, you do now itself, because you don't know when you go away, when you dissolve, when you die. So this idea is brought here. We should not postpone whatever work is to be done, that has to be done at the earliest. Whatever good work. That is also part of virya. If one should think very high, and we should not think oneself very high also, very low also. If I think myself very high, then my colleagues will not like me. If I consider myself very low, then I'll have that inferiority complex. I'll not be able to do anything. So person should maintain a middle path, middle way. That is, I'm not very high, not very low, but I can do something. I can do that thing which I desire. To generate endeavor, we need four supports: aspiration, firmness, joy, and moderation. Aspiration must be there for doing the work. Firmness there should be there. There should no wavering. And joy, inner joy should be there. It should not be some sorrowful feeling. Then moderation. Anything should not be done to the extreme. Because if I want to do certain work, the body gets tired after a certain time. When I am feeling tired, I must take rest. It is not, we should not force our body. Otherwise, the body will get incapacitated and we cannot do further work. So, middle path has to be taken in all this journey. That means doing work but taking rest also. Some rest is needed to give Vishram to the body and to recapitulate the body. Then next comes Dhyana. Dhyana is the sixth portal. It is called Bodhi portal. It is the golden gate that leads the yogi towards the realm of Sat. And here, when it is mentioned Dhyana here does not mean only simple meditation. Dhyana means constant meditative stage of life, in this case, in the Paramitas case. It's not some meditation of sitting half an hour and 15 minutes or 1 hour. It is constant, 24 hours, all the 360 seconds and minutes and all those things here, meditative state. Here the Atman, the flame, which shines through the soul, that means soul starts working, feeling, thinking purely in the light of universal ideas. Because Atman is the quality, Atman has quality of universality. So here the soul will think, act and feel universally, according to universal principles, not with the personal, not with the prejudiced thing. Here estranged himself from the object of senses, traveled on the path of seeing and path of hearing. This is called path of seeing and path of hearing. What does it mean? Path of seeing. Every time I am seeing, I am hearing. But no, but this is I am not seeing and I am not hearing in ordinary sense. What I am not seeing, not hearing? In ordinary life, we do not see the reality. We do not hear the real thing. We get somehow entangled in illusions of life. So that is why it is saying this path is path of hearing and path of seeing. Path of seeing the reality. Reality means human life. What is the human life reality? It is very evanescent life. Very for few seconds, few minutes, few years life is there. So once we feel that, then we want to know, we want to do make something what we can do in this short span of life. And similarly seeing also the reality. So this knowledge is gained on this path. He has reached Titiksha state where completely indifferent, completely equanimity is there, nothing can disturb us. Dhyana involves quietening a mind and seeing things as they are. Dhyana is called Samatha Vipassana. That means we see everything as it is. Then comes last Prajna. Prajna is ultimate wisdom, is the key to which makes of a man a god, creating him a bodhisattva, son of Dhyani. This Prajna Paramita, or the Paramita of wisdom, is inconceivable, inexpressible, and indescribable. This highest Paramita, it cannot be described, it cannot be expressed, it cannot be conceived, it can be only experienced, perceived, if one desires to perceive. That is, at that stage, we get the feeling, what we call in our Hindu scripture, Brahma realized. A person becomes Brahma realized, what an Upanishad says. And that stage cannot be described, cannot be expressed by any human mind, because our mind is limited. It is not born, Paramita is not born, nor cannot be comprehended. Prajna is nothing but seeing things as they are. Prajna is nothing but seeing. When we are talking Prajna, this is not Prajna in the worldly sense. Prajna is seeing the things as they are. What is the human life? What are the other lives? What for the purpose of Okay, so there was a mantra in Buddhism which says Gate Gate Paragate. This I quoted in the article. This is not given in voice of silence. Paragate, Paramsugate, and Bodhiswara. This means that this path has to be done slowly, slowly. Slowly means in the sense that I cannot do hurry. It's not something doing hurry and perfect. It has to become perfection. So perfection is required. Some order is required, and orderliness also means not in hurried manner. Then every stage we go paragate, we proceed, we progress, and finally we reach the soul, we reach the stage, and then we sacrifice that thing, we do swaha. That means sacrifice our that stage for the benefit of humanity. Now each paramita is related to our principle that Brodsky describes, and also the qualities of chela. Dana, she says, is physical body, is related to physical principle. And here we should have perfect physical health. Physical health is necessary for performing dana. Every type of dana, giving time, giving money, giving our energy. That means perfect health is required. We should take care of our body. Then Shila, it is related to etheric double, Ling Sarira. And for that, the chela should be have absolute mental and physical purity. Physical and mental purity is necessary. That comes only by meditation of awareness. Then Shanti is related to prana. And here also, unselfishness, universal charity, and pity for all living beings, that quality we should consciously develop. Then Vairagya is related to Kama principle. And here, truthfulness and unswearing faith in the law of karma is required. At this stage, we should be free ourselves from all the rites and ceremonies which are done for invoking gods to help us to change our karmic effect. We should become free from that stage. So, and we should firmly believe that the course of law of karma cannot be deviated, cannot be obscured by all these things. By proprietary and exoteric ceremony, we must be away from that. Then Virya related to manas, which means a courage, undaunted in every emergency, even at the peril of the life. Then Dhyana Buddhi, an intimate perception of one taking the vehicle of manifested Avalokiteshvara. Dhyana means Buddhi is related to the Dhyana, and at that stage the chela or disciple should have this feeling that I am the embodiment of the Ishvara. I am the embodiment of Ishvara. Ishvara is working through me. That feeling must come. That conviction must come. And then Prajna Atma, calm indifference to everything, but at the same time just appreciation of everything. Calm indifference to everything, but just appreciation of everything, because everything is useful in the world, in the samsara. So we should be indifferent, but at the same time appreciate everything, good and bad. So these are then perfection. It says that perfection we should not attempt that we become perfect in one paramita, then go to second, then go third. No, we should try to practice all the paramitas together, or the more than one paramita at the same time, and we should reach perfection in due course of time. See, when a person has reached final stage and he surrendered that, then it is described beautifully in the voice of silence, again in a metaphor way, that person becomes guardian, savior of humanity, and that he becomes, and he surrenders his nirvana at so many times, and finally attains paranirvana and takes birth at much higher stage. So, since time is up, I will close here, and remaining things you can cover later. So, voice of silence, this idea, they say, this is the highest idea which is emanated from human brain in this fifth race. Highest idea means attaining that stage and surrendering, renouncing that stage. And this is the highest stage which man can achieve on this birth during our Adhyatmic journey. And that's why you say Buddha and Arhat who attain this path, they are considered perfect for humanity. And Mahayana Buddhism and Theosophy recommend this stage, practice of attaining this stage for spiritual sadhana. Thank you very much.
ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು U.S.Pandey ಅವರು ನೀಡಿದ ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಭಾಷಣದ ಸಾರಾಂಶವನ್ನು ಆನಿದೆ ಆನಿದೆ
ಆಫ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು.
ಮಾಡಿ
1 ಅವರ್ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡಿ.